Please rise for the family. Thank you. You may be seated. Welcome to the United Churches of Langley. Welcome on behalf of the family, who you are bringing a lot of memories for. You, as people visiting the church I attend, welcome. We're glad to see you. For those of you way out there online, welcome, and I hope you can join us sometime live. The general idea is for us to celebrate. In order to celebrate, we want to know that the washrooms, there's one in the hall here and two in the hall back there. So any interruption, we would like you to also make sure you've got any of your social things off, your cell phones, your iPads. Back in the days when I started attending here, we didn't have this to worry about. And in the hall behind us, there's a social after this. All are welcome. Those who have mobility challenges, you can go out the door and come up the ramp. Or we can help you get up the steps here. We're making sure that the railing is there for you. It is a safety feature. It is not an insult. So welcome. We're glad that you could all make it. Barb has a long history here in this building and elsewhere. A lot of what she did in music was very popular secular, popular religious songs. And so today I am using the King James Version for all my Bible readings, and I'm using the oldest standard Lord's Prayer. Just in case you think that I don't know that the new ones exist, I do. But Barb was Barb. She always honored the past, but looked at the present. Our first reading is the Lord's Shepherd. Psalm 23, and it is so commonly read, but so beloved. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Barb's daughters have an excellent idea of what their mother's all about. And this is the poem they wanted me to read, written by David Harkins, called She Is Gone. And you'll see that also in your bulletin. You can shed a tear that she is gone, or you can smile because she has lived. You can close your eyes and pray she'll come back. Or you can open your eyes and see what she has left. Your hearts can be empty because you cannot see her. Or you can be filled with the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live for yesterday. Or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember her and only that she's gone. Or you can cherish her memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your eyes and close your mind. Be empty and turn your back. Or you could do what she would have you do. Smile. Open your eyes. Love. And go on. At this time, we have an open mic. We'd like members of the congregation to come up and give us stories about your time with Barb and all the things that she means to you, and give others a chance. So who would like to start off? I'm sure we've got some people who want to share some stories that the girls don't know about, that the congregation doesn't know, and the neighbors. Okay, if you're all cowards. I bet, Barb. Okay, we've got one coming up. It's amazing what a threat of having me talk does.
Thank you. My memory of Barbara relates to a good deed that we do here at the United Churches of Langley. At least we used to. Some of the members of the congregation here used to do services at the seniors' home, Harrison Landing and Harrison Point. And Barbara and I did several of those services together. She played, and I tried to talk. But it was a fond memory, and she was always so wonderful on the piano and got the people in those places to sing along. And that's my special memory of her. Thanks, Peter.
So my memories of Barb were definitely church and music orientated. Besides the seniors' homes that she was at, Barb and I did Langley Lodge. She'd give me 6 songs, and I would have to try to work them all together into a comprehensive half-hour sing-song and devotions. Barb also was very active in the women's group here. Every so often, we needed some entertainment, so Barb had a pickup choir, and she would get anybody who could stand to get up front and sing with her. She also extended well beyond the church itself. In 2 of the condos that I lived in, she came and supplied the Christmas music. She would supply music for other events. And I know she was elsewhere. She loved music, she loved people. And to know why, here are the girls. Her 4 daughters are coming up to tell of the love that their parents gave them. And come on up. Before they came up, they took pictures of each other, and I'm sure they would have made a great choir.
Hi, everyone. My name's Deborah. I'm the middle child, and I thank you all for coming. We are gathered here today to honor and celebrate the life of Barbara Stuart, who touched the hearts of everyone she encountered. Mum, Barbara Stuart, née Penna, was born in Saltash, Cornwall, England, on November 28, 1926. Even though she lived in Canada for 76 years, she held on to her distinctive English accent, despite her brother saying how Canadian she sounded. As a young child, she loved small animals, particularly cats and dogs, and then as life went along, progressed into a love for horses. She enjoyed riding the Clydesdales during her younger years and always pined to have a horse of her own. Something our parents had to endure which I cannot imagine how dreadful it must have been, was the Second World War. Going through the experience of being woken up at night with air raids, bombers, and explosions, then being evacuated and even sadly losing some childhood friends must have been a sad life experience to go through. Mom and her brother Jeff reminisced about their hectic nights during wartime evacuations. Jeff was 6 years her junior and was in his teenage years when she left home. Despite not being close geographically, they had a special bond that grew with every passing year and carried on to the very end. After the war, it was decided that they would emigrate to Canada. Dad and Mom, Alan Stuart and Barbara Penna, were married on October 16, 1948, and a week later they set sail for Canada. On November 17, 1948, the RMS Aquitania docked in Halifax, Nova Scotia, with so many English immigrants excited about their new lives in Canada. Mom was very glad to be on dry land, as she had been suffering for 3 weeks with motion sickness from the rough waters all the way across the pond. They went on to Toronto by train, and 4 days later, she started a job, and her new life was off to a very fast start. They spent 9 years in Toronto, with Mom working outside the home at first, then raising a family of 4 girls. Twin girls, June and Pam, born May 16th, myself, Deb, born November 16th, and Lynn, born August 31st, the baby. Mom told stories about how she and her neighbors rushed to see who could get their laundry done first, particularly the never-ending diapers, and out on the line the quickest, so they could all get together for their morning coffee chats, because they couldn't make tea. She talked about the cold weather in Toronto and how the laundry would actually freeze on the line. She remembers when her mom came from England when the twins were first born, and how it must have been such a shock for her, as they were living in a cottage that had been modified to accommodate living in it year-round. Her mother had said to her, "That is why you have children when you are young." Thank goodness, Mom was young and adventurous, and she clearly got through it with flying colors. Mom had always wanted children and excelled at this very demanding job. In 1957, Dad took a job with a photography company in Western Canada. They had always wanted to move to Vancouver to get away from the humidity of the summer heat and the cold, snowy winter in Toronto. As Dad was going to be on the road for 3 months, Mom suggested that she and the 4 girls, June and Pam, now 5, myself, 2.5, and Lynn, 6 months old, could spend that time in England visiting the family that they hadn't seen for 9 years. On returning to Canada, they rented a house in North Vancouver, which she remembers having a very big hill to push the pram up if she wanted to take the 4 girls out. In 1958, their new house in Richmond was ready. They lived in this house from 1958 to 1983 and had developed many friendships in the local neighborhood. Elaine, around the corner, was one of the first people Mom met, and they had a friendship that lasted for 60-plus years. The neighborhood was a great environment for the 4 girls to grow up in. The family joined Gilmore Park United Church, and Mom enjoyed being a part of the choir for many years. Raising 4 girls that were active in school and after-school activities kept Mom pretty busy. She was our personal chauffeur. She was always there for us, and never complained about our activities, whether sports or community-based or even social. Mom worked as a receptionist at a car dealer in Vancouver for several years and was able to obtain a cute little Mini, and it served our family well. I am still amazed how well she packed all the camping supplies required for our family of 6 to go camping. I think I speak for all 4 of us girls when I say our camping vacations in the Caribou were our favorite childhood memories. She also worked in the lab at Richmond Hospital. Mom had always wanted to be a nurse, but due to a perforated eardrum in her youth, that was not possible. She enjoyed her connection, however, with the medical profession through her working time at the hospital. In October 1973, Mom and Dad celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary, surrounded by family and friends at Grouse Mountain. A wonderful evening was had by all. I can still hear Mom say, "Look at all the pretty lights." Mom had always wanted a horse of her own. As a child, during her summer holidays, she worked at a riding stable, which she enjoyed very much. She never did get a horse of her own, but when June and Pam were teenagers, they managed to raise enough money to buy a horse each. They boarded them at a barn across the field at the back of the house. Eventually, they both moved to Langley and boarded their horses there. In 1983, Mom persuaded Dad to move to an acreage on 204th Street in Langley near Campbell Valley Park. The ruse was so that June and Pam could board their horses on their own property. But the truth be known, it was so Mom could be around horses herself. Finally, Mom almost had a horse of her own, as she looked after them every chance she got. This was a very happy time for her. A basement suite was built in the house, and June moved in, and Pam bought a mobile nearby. After Dad passed away in 2003, Pam moved back home to help with the chores. Mom enjoyed attending church and singing in the choir at Sharon United. In 1986, Mom began playing the organ at church, and then semi-retired in 1992 while continuing to play for weddings and funerals. She was even able to play at my son's, her grandson's wedding in 2004. Sorry. She made many lifelong friends at the church, including Peter and Joanne and Shirley, to name a few. Barbara enjoyed, my mom, looking after the children, the grandchildren, Lynn's children, wherever possible, and also looked forward to the summer visits in the Okanagan with my children. In October of 1998, Mom and Dad celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary at Adrian's Restaurant at the Langley Airport. An absolutely wonderful event was enjoyed by the many family and friends. From 2003 on, Mom enjoyed her association with Harrison Landing and a few years later with Harrison Point. Both residences welcomed her to their social events and always made her feel like she was part of their family. She thoroughly enjoyed her volunteer times, playing the piano with the Glee Club, and her duet piano playing with her dear friend Alice. Mom had always wanted to go to Hawaii, so on a very rainy day in February 2010, Mom and I left Vancouver and spent a lovely week on Maui. She was so happy to have finally gotten to see Hawaii. She was able to visit with her granddaughter Lisa and family, husband Tommy and their children, her great-grandchildren Thomas and great-granddaughter Lila. The time spent lounging in the sun, walking on the beach, paddling in the water, and enjoying the luau entertainment were truly wonderful memories I will forever cherish. Eventually, it was decided to sell the farm. In 2012, Pam and Mom moved to Meadowbrook, a townhouse complex in Langley, and June moved to a condo over in White Rock. Living in this complex was very enjoyable for Mom, with wonderful neighbors, great socializing, especially the coffee mornings with excellent conversation and wonderful treats made by Val. Mom kept busy with her church choir and the Rainbow Choir for several years. She enjoyed many a trip with this fine group of ladies under the direction of Joan. She was also a chauffeur to many of the ladies that wanted to continue with the choirs but were unable to drive themselves. She developed many lifelong friendships in these choirs, in particular her dear friend Gwen. In 2019, a change was on the horizon. Pam had always wanted to move a little east of the hectic Lower Mainland. So, in the spring of 2019, Pam and Mom at the age of 92, moved to Medicine Hat to live with me. While in Medicine Hat, Mom made many new friends and enjoyed the time she spent with the rest of the family. Of course, she joined a new singing group and also the Senior Center Choir. The Wednesday food court lunch ladies, Fran, Loretta, Laura, Elaine, Rita, Betty, June, Marianne, and Linda, welcomed Mom into their circle with open arms. I included Mom into some of my line dance functions, and the ladies in that group welcomed her wholeheartedly. Dave and Mary were another couple who took to Mom. They enjoyed her gentle and caring spirit. They were so kind to Mom, and I know Mom really appreciated their company, as well enjoying many a cup of tea together. Mom also enjoyed many a meal together at the local Viner Senior Center with Linda and Gary, Sue, Patty, and Eileen. Alas, she missed the West Coast, and after 4 years, returned to Langley in April 2023 to live at Harrison Landing, where she had previously volunteered for several years. Well, like the old saying goes, things don't stay the same, so she decided to move on over to Sunnyside in White Rock, as she had always enjoyed the sea air, and White Rock reminded her of her English roots. Lynn and June were close by to visit Mom. They enjoyed many a picnic together along the White Rock Beach and the pier area. During this time, Mom's brother, Jeff, from England at the age of 90, accompanied by his daughter Sue, were able to have a visit with her in September 2023. 1 year later, at the age of 97, on September 30th, Mom took on yet another adventure. She decided to move back to Medicine Hat and moved into Cypress View Foundation in Medicine Hat. For anybody who's counting, I think we're up to 5 moves in 6 years, and she kept us on our toes for sure. If anybody has any questions about moving back and forth between Alberta and BC, I'm your go-to person. Her diminishing eyesight was the driving force to moving into a place with more care. She could no longer see well enough to play the piano, something she loved to do all her life, but she still loved music and appreciated the lovely music that was at Cypress View. Now, 6 months after Mom moved to Medicine Hat, she's taking her last final adventure, moving back to BC. She wanted to have her service here in Langley because she felt such a strong connection with so many wonderful people here for so many years. Mom was a very kind, gentle person who touched so many people's lives. She will be remembered fondly as a lovely, sweet person, by her friends and family. She had been an active volunteer, a beloved friend, a confidant to many, and I know I share the statement with all who met her. We were blessed to have known her. She was a wonderful daughter, sister, wife, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and a loyal friend to many. Survived by us 4 daughters, June, Pam, myself, and Lynn. 4 grandchildren, Martin with his wife Tasha, Suzanne and her husband Shane, Lisa, her husband Tommy, and Jess. 6 great-grandchildren, Noah, Sky, Leland, Wyatt, Thomas, and Lila. Mom was predeceased by her husband Alan of 54 years of marriage on January 7th, 2003. Mom had written this little note to be read at her service. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near, still loved, still missed, and always dear. In closing, I had the pleasure of spending the last several years with my mother. And as much as I appreciated and valued her before, I'm so thankful to have had these last years together. I will cherish the memories we made and shared for all time. Now I believe June, Pam, and Lynn would like to say a few words.
Hi, I'm June. I'm the oldest, so I have to go first. Anyway, I was the one that was living at the farm here in Langley in the basement. They let me out now and then, and the only way to get rid of me was to sell the place. But I remember going for lots of walks and riding the horses in Campbell Valley Park, which is a great park. Everybody, you all know it. And we had lots of good times doing that. But in some ways, I didn't see much of her because she was always out singing or playing the piano somewhere. She was very busy. She did a lot of things. And she also used to come over to Kent Street Senior Center in White Rock. There was a lunch there every couple of Fridays. And she would drive over there all the time and join me. And later on, I'd go and pick her up when she couldn't drive. We had a good time there. Nice meal and dancing. She always liked that. And I think Deb pretty much covered everything, and that's about all I can say. Time for Pam. Most of you know, because we're all kind of the same age, that our memories aren't really that good. But I do have lots of fond memories of my mom. But I'm going to recite just something from a couple of weeks ago when she went into the hospital, because I thought that she was the most fun at that time. She had gone in and we knew, it wasn't looking that good. But the nurses were very good. They looked after her, and they would come in and give her this little shot, and she'd be so happy. I always said to the nurse, could I have some of that? Anyway, she had this eye condition that caused hallucination, and probably the happy juice did the same thing. But she would point at the ceiling, look at the cars, look at the bus. And she was just beaming, just beaming. She was not a very vocal person. She wouldn't say too much. She was more of a listener. And it was just fun to see her so animated like that. And another thing, later on that same day, she kept trying to get out of bed. She wasn't allowed to. She'd fall over. She had no strength left. So she would try to get out of bed, and she'd take her covers off, and I'd pull them back, and she would get really mad. She says, "You're a bad daughter." And I'd say, "Well, why do you want to get out of bed?" And she said, "Well, I want to go line dancing." No, you're not going line dancing. And then later on, I said, why do you want to get out of bed? She says, I want to go watch you play table tennis. Well, no, you just can't get out of bed. That's all there is to it. You have to stay there. But she was so much fun and just lively and happy, and that's how I'm going to remember her. And I'd like to close with this little poem that I just found, and it's so pretty. If roses grow in heaven, Lord, please pick a bunch for me. Place them in my mother's arms and tell her they're from me. Tell her I love her and miss her, and when she turns to smile, place a kiss upon her cheek and hold her for a while. Because remembering her is easy, I do it every day, but there's an ache within my heart that will never go away.
Oh, hello. It's a problem going last, because they've stolen all my lines, but anyways, I'll do my best. Thank you to everyone for coming today. Such a good turnout from her times in the church here at Meadowbrook. My two dearest friends from many years ago, family, thank you all. And to the pianist and Peter, Joanne. I also want to mention in her younger years, Mom enjoyed dancing with our dad in square dancing, singing in the choir, and also playing the piano or organ that Deb mentioned. And Mom was always her lifeline. She enjoyed her daily walks, which I think has resonated down to her daughters, well, most of them anyways. No names, just most of us are heavy walkers. I want some of that happy juice, by the way, that Mom had. Geez, that sounds really good stuff. Mom has now joined our dad in heaven, who's been more than patient waiting for her for many, many years. Mom's kind spirit will live on in us children and take the same gratitude and kindness that she exhibited every day, no matter who you were. We all take comfort that she's now truly resting in peace. There's a lot of personal stories that I could have, well, the memory's not that good, so I'm not going to get into them because Deb did a good overview of things, but I enjoyed the camping was beyond stellar. And after the service, there's a nice display of photos with the refreshments that basically mirror Mom's life. Yeah, and as my, as I'm 60-odd years ago for me, closer to 70 actually, you beat it out of me. Mom was there, obviously, for my first breaths. And when I went back to Medicine Hat and she was in the hospital, having her last breaths, the full circle of life. And it was just a time for me of joy. That's the whole circle. She was resting comfortably, so I was very happy. And in closing, please join us for the refreshments in the hall. And as they say, always look on the bright side of life. We shall have joy today. Thank you.
I want to thank the congregation for not talking too long because these girls really hit it right. One of the scriptures that Barb wanted us to use at this service, she has probably heard hundreds and hundreds of times at other services. It means so much to so many Christians. I'm assuming that some of our Jewish compatriots and even our Muslims who use the Old Testament use this often. Ecclesiastes 3. To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which was planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather the stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to give, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time for peace. What profit hath he that worketh in wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God has given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful. He also has set the world in their hearts, so that no man can find out the work of God from the beginning to the end. I know that there is no good in them, but for man to rejoice and to do good in his life, and also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the goods of his labor. It is the gift of God. I know that whatever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And God doeth it, that every man should fear him. That which is required, that which has been, is now, and that which is to be, has already been. And God requires that with all that is past. The Lord's Prayer is another aspect of Barb's life. In celebrations of life, in Christian services, in her own life. Those who are familiar with this and like to join in, please do. We're using the traditional interpretation. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Having done services with Barb, like here, the prayer always started off quiet. But all those who loved it always joined in, because it's so important to so many. It is now time to say, you've been a blessing to us. The girls have been a blessing to us. Barb has been a blessing to us. And may the Lord bless each and every one of you here and those online. God is a God of love. God is a God of caring. And he gave us Barb to enjoy and to live. Would you please stand and follow the girls out into the hall for conversations, for treats, and just a very, very good time. For those of you who